The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello and good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining our webcast today, which is going to be lots of information about search engine optimization, which we call SEO, and how that ties back into home care. I think you'll find this very, very interesting. We have certainly been doing search engine optimization for a long time here at Core Cubed, and we learn all the time. My name is Merrily Orsini, and I am president here at Core Cubed, and I have been in the home care industry for a long time. I like to say I've been in the home care industry since before most of you on the call were born, which is probably true today and gets truer every year as I continue to age and as I continue to serve in the home care industry. Let me first mention that I have everyone on mute, and if you want to ask a question, which we do encourage, please use the text box on your screen on the right-hand side, and you may ask us questions. And if we do not get them today, we will get to them after the webinar. We're also recording, so you can share this webinar with folks. We will upload it soon after we're finished, and you can share it with your friends. I'm joined today by two people who are integral to our SEO work and our other work here at Core Cubed. Our managing director, Marissa Snook, and she administers our Most Home Care program, but she also works daily. She also works daily with She also works daily with our SEO, and so she basically has lots of information about this at her fingertips and knows a lot, as does Amy Selle, who is our managing director as well. And Amy has a long history in the aging care field in terms of public relations and marketing, and she is, I like to say, our brand guru on staff. So welcome, Amy. Welcome, Marissa.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm really going to let our two experts talk about this today, because what we're presenting today is probably some information and some statistics that you have not seen before, or that at least are compiled in ways that that make the case for using search engine optimization to market your business. Marissa, you want to talk about this?
Sure. Well, and this isn't the only statistic that looks like this. There are statistics all over the place that show increasingly people are looking for health information online. And, you know, it may be a question, maybe they've been recently diagnosed with a disease, or a family member has been, and they're looking for information on that, answers to questions. And this is great for your agency because you can help provide the answers and drive them to your website.
Yeah, I think what I would add to that that's relevant to home care is that even though we're all aging, we're all going in the same direction, and you all know this, we tend not to think about looking for a care need until something happens. And having worked on the provider side myself, you know, usually when people are calling you, they're in crisis. But we do know that when people start to have some changes in their health, or they have a relative who has changes in their health, a mother or a father, that they do start Googling those topics. So it might be that mom was just diagnosed with diabetes or another chronic condition. And this really shows that health information is the most popular internet search topic out there. There's a reason for that, and having health information on your website can help improve your SEO.
And let's break it down a little bit more, because this is specifics to some of the most frequently searched information. Anything that you all would like to add here?
I think looking at this slide, everyone should have on their minds, oh, these are great topics to blog about. Write these down.
Yeah, for me, what it is that, you know, for any kind of health issue that a senior or older adult might encounter, these particular topics are going to show you different ways to blog about that. So there are, you know, nutritional blogs about how to, you know, what's best for a certain chronic condition, exercises that are best for a certain health condition, procedures that are best, and then just general information about those specific conditions. But when you look at these numbers, it's really telling how many people out there are searching for this information.
Well, and I think
all of this can be tied back into home care. I mean, you're not just going to write about exercise for seniors. You're going to use that information on your website to then tie it back to how your services can help with exercise for seniors.
Yes, and I was going to say, in addition to blogging, you also have other opportunities for landing pages about this specific information, and also about helpful resources for any types of issues that someone who is just entering into the field of trying to find some care help for a loved one, the information that those people might want to see. And there is a journey. There is a definite journey from when someone first thinks there may be a care need for one of their loved ones, and to when they actually pick up the phone and call your agency. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And Amy mentioned that most of the time what you get are those immediate need calls, but we are seeing other types of inquiries as well. We are seeing people who now, because home care has become a little more widely known as a care option, that people are actually spending some time thinking about it in the future, or looking for some respite. So it's not always now 100% of the time an immediate need, help, I need care today, but there are some others in there. But regardless of where the buyer is in this journey, and you have to identify where that searcher is first, that's going to also help you as you are working on how do you use your SEO to attract some home care clients. And I'm just going to briefly talk about the buying rationale and the buying psychology, because we do a lot of work on the why for your agency, and branding and messaging and visuals. But just to mention that while this searcher is in the journey, there are two sides to it, and you do have to cover both of those, because people are interested, of course, in the cost. They're interested in some of the other hard facts, the rational things about home care. Generally, when someone starts this journey, unless they've been through it before, they really have no idea about home care and what that means, and what does it cost, and how long is it going to be for, and what happens when the worker gets there. So there's all of those kinds of questions that are on the rational side. But I will say that on the psychological side, there's a lot of factors too that weigh into this journey. I'm not going to go into those too deeply here today, but that is also, as someone is searching, it's a great way to use your blogging and other things so that you are hitting on that psychological side, because people are influenced heavily in buying by what others are saying, by their own guilt, particularly in home care, by what they're expecting, and by their attitudes and beliefs. So lots of things on both sides of the equation, both rational and psychological. Marissa, do you want to talk a little bit about moments matter? Because this is really new to technology.
Absolutely. Google likes to call them micro moments. And what a micro moment is that quick glance that you take on a mobile device, or even on a computer nowadays to act on a need to either learn something, do something, discover something, watch something, or buy something. And these micro moments are very intent rich. Because they're short, they're also often impulsive. But they are the moments when decisions are made and preferences are shaped. So think about how you use your smartphone. When you're looking for something, you probably got a few minutes, you want to find something really quickly, and you have very high expectations that you're going to find something quickly, and your patience is going to be pretty low. So going through these 4 different moments on this wheel here, the I want to know moments are moments when people are researching, maybe they're not in purchase mode, but they're trying to learn something. I want to go moments is typically they're looking for an event or a local business. I want to do moments, that's the time when somebody wants help with a specific task, like how do I communicate with my mom with Alzheimer's? And the I want to buy moments, those are when they're ready for purchase, but they need help with that whole purchasing process. So if you want to win people over in these micro moments, you have to do more than just have the information there. You have to, the information has to be very useful, relevant. They have to be able to find it quickly, and it has to be really high quality. So the agencies that are going to win these micro moments are the ones that are going to fulfill all of those needs.
And I might say that based on the changes in technology we've had, this micro-marketing moments are new because of the availability of immediate access to information through your smartphones and your tablets. And what I'm seeing is that this is only going to increase. People are moving more and more from using a PC to search to actually spending their search times wherever they are, whenever they are, and that is why we have those micro-marketing moments. And they matter. So, Amy, do you want to talk about this, or Marissa? Because I think this being loyal to their need in the moment is the important point here.
Yeah, I think that we're an information-seeking society, and based on what Merrily just said about the usage of mobile devices and mobile search going up, what we're going to see is more people searching for information on those mobile devices. We have more and faster access to information than we've ever had before, and we do research before the need is immediate to us. So you have to think about putting some information that's relevant to your customers and educational for your customers on your site to meet them in their different moments of need, whether they're searching for information on how to help a parent do something, more information about their condition, or how to discern how to discern between 2 home care companies. So that those are different types of topics that will meet them in different moments of need. If you're not putting that kind of information on your website and people are out there using their mobile devices to search for information and they're in different moments of need, then you're going to miss them. They're going to move on to the next opportunity.
And I think the stats here are pretty relevant, especially for the small agency who's trying to get their name out there. This is saying that 51% of consumers who found the information that they wanted to, it didn't matter what brand it was. Maybe they are with a different home care agency, or maybe they've heard of XYZ home agency, but they've never heard of you. If you get them the information and answers that they need, 51% of them are going to purchase from the brand that gave them the information.
And take that to that 65% who are also really looking for the most relevant information. So they might have heard a jingle on the radio or seen an ad on television from a big national company or a franchise, but when they actually get to searching, what they're looking for is information that actually helps them in their search. And what happens if they can't find what they need?
They go elsewhere. And
Pretty
they
quickly.
don't come back.
They leave and they don't come back. And what is that? That means that you have that one chance. We talk about first impressions. You really do have that one chance when someone is searching, because they have lots of options as they're searching. So you have that one chance that they're going to come to you and you're going to meet their needs. And I think the other thing, and go and think back to the slide about what people are searching for, and this is one thing we say a lot, but home care services are not one size fits all. So someone is, depending on what their immediate issue is, that's what they're going to be searching for. So so you can have lots of information on your site to answer lots of different questions, but you have to make it easy. The user experience has to be easy so that they can find their way to what they're looking for immediately. So how is it that the journey begins?
Well, we get a lot of feedback from people. I shouldn't say a lot, but we do get clients and people that we're talking to out and about ask us, why do I want to try to acquire people who are in the beginning of their journey? And I think it's important to answer that in a couple of different ways. When you have information on your website that pertains to people who are early in their journey, it presents another opportunity for your website to get found. And it starts to establish you as an expert in your community on elder care services. And so it might be that a potential client is searching early in the journey because they've just found out that a senior loved one, has been diagnosed or is showing, issues that might later suggest care. Or it might be a referral source who is searching that information because they're trying to help their clients. It's becoming more and more important to capture people early in the journey and establish that relationship and that perception of your agency being an expert.
So doing the legwork, this is really where we talk about what is the legwork for search engine optimization. And it really is based on strategy. You have to have a strategy. Anytime you are going to do anything in marketing, you really ought to have a strategy and you ought to be measuring. But creating a strategic SEO plan, do you want to talk about that, Amy?
First I want to talk about this statistic that we saw in the beginning too, and it's 68% of people search for future help or help for a future need. And I think we're going to continue to see that percentage go up. And it's because we don't have to be sitting at our desk to look for information. So we can, be sitting in the car at a soccer match, waiting for our child to be done playing, and we can search for that information. So people, again, we live in an information-seeking society. We have more access to information than we ever did before. So we can start to look for things ahead of time and catch people earlier in their journey. Creating a strategic SEO plan takes into account this kind of information. and getting people to your site at the other parts of the journey too.
So let's talk specifically about some strategies for SEO. Marissa, do you want to talk about this?
Yes. When it comes to what type of content to add onto your website, as far as, what are going to be the types of questions that people have, there are resources for that, and having an SEO expert at your back is also very helpful for that. But anything that you choose, tie it into your local region where you service. And the reason is there are a lot of national websites out there that have, like WebMD, for example, that have this type of information. What you want to find are the people who are looking for that information that are in your service area. And adding your local information in will help in that regard. So if you're writing a blog about caring for somebody with heart disease, tie it into your agency services and then talk about your agency services in XYZ area. That will help drive the correct sort of traffic to your website. And have it be, you can use a tool. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's google.com/trends. This is a free resource, and it's kind of fun to play with, at least I think it is, where you can type in different things like Alzheimer's disease, and you can see over time if that is something that people are searching for. I happen to know that is definitely something people are searching for, and it's a great topic to add to your website. But even at different times of the year, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the presentation, using that tool to see, hey, at these times of the year, people are really searching for warning signs about care. And then tailor your, when you put the information up on your website to that.
Well, we're going to talk about blogging at strategic times sooner rather than later. So
here we go. Well,
here it is. This is really fascinating to me because it's statistical, and it's actually something that we compile. So Marissa, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, these are statistics from actual clients of ours. And what we did is used that google.com trends to see when people were looking for home care. And when you just type in home care or home health care, you can see every November, December, it kind of dips. And this is every single year across several years. But then in January, it skyrockets. People are looking for care in January. And why is that? We'll go back to the psychology. It's because they go home over the holidays and they see that mom or dad needs a little bit more care than what they had anticipated. So in January, after the holidays, they start searching for care. So we took this information and we thought, okay, these people who are looking for care, they're first-timers, they're just realizing that mom or dad needs care. What are the sorts of questions that they may have? And it could be warning signs that care is needed. How do you choose a home care agency? How do you understand different care options? Then you take that and you put it into blogs or landing pages or even social media ads to then drive traffic to your website to get more information, and you post it at the time when people are searching. In this case, it was in January. And so you can see that their blog page views in January for client A and B went up really high in January as compared to December. And same with the unique page views. Both client A and B, their page views went up significantly. Unfortunately for that last statistic there, I only have stats for client A because client B tracks their contact form fill-outs through a separate website. But client A, you can see their contact form fill-outs went up over 200% in January. And you have to be able to tie at least some of that into the content that you posted in January answering the questions that those people searching for care had. And Now I will say Mother's Day is coming up. You are going to see the same trend as in January after Mother's Day, and for the exact same reasons. So keep that in mind when you're posting some content on your sites and social media after Mother's Day.
And Marissa, I'm going to have you do this one too, because you've done so much research into this, and you mentioned it before, but this really, we oftentimes have people say, well, why should I put this information up on my site, because I cannot compete with all the other big ones. But there is a trick to making it work.
Absolutely. And this is particularly important for home care agencies using SEO, because you'll often find that you can get a lot of traffic for the city where you actually have a physical location in. That's the way that Google does searches. They know you service the city that you have a location in. But because home care agencies obviously service a much wider area than where they actually have a physical location, you have to use content on your website to let Google know, hey, I also service these areas. I also provide care here, here, and here. And you do that through blogs, landing pages on your website where you're tying in that information. So you're answering their questions about Alzheimer's, heart disease, Parkinson's, but then also have, we service this area. And here's a little insider SEO tip. Don't stuff 20 cities into the end of every single blog. I've seen that before. That confuses Google. It's not helpful. Choose one city or maybe two and have your page be about that, and then say, see our other areas that we service, or say, and the surrounding areas. That is much cleaner and neater for Google to be able to tell where you serve. And then in your next blog, choose a different city that you serve and focus on that. So insider tip for you, free tip.
Well, I will say that we've been doing SEO for a long time, and it is getting more and more complicated to do it correctly, but done correctly, it really does work. And this is, if you think that you're the only one doing SEO, you're fooling yourself, because there's lots of people out there selling SEO services. Some of them are charlatans, but they're out there selling it. And there's some people out there that that are trying to do their own SEO, but it's so fiercely competitive that you really do need to win this SEO race, because you can see the numbers, and if you are doing your SEO correctly, then you should be the one getting those calls. So, and it's not just your SEO, it's lots of other things involved with it, but do not fool yourself if you are spending time and energy on SEO that the others aren't doing it as well. So I think that's probably enough said, but Marissa and Amy, you're welcome to say something about that if you want to.
What I like to tell people is that Google is a big quality monitor. And so as the web, the internet has expanded, and as more businesses have websites, the purpose of a search engine is to determine what are the best quality sites to show consumers. And they have metrics for measuring what are the best quality sites. One of those metrics is how often you add quality content to your site, how relevant is that content to your consumers, and how helpful is that content to your consumers. So that's another reason why it's a competition, because other competitor agencies are doing that so that the search engines are seeing their sites as high quality. And it's another reason why SEO is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing effort to meet the quality indicators that the search engines are looking for. Now, more and more home care agencies are getting into the industry because there's a surge in the population of older adults, which makes it even more important that you're in the competition. And you are not in the competition if you're not adding new, relevant, helpful to your consumers, locally targeted content to your website.
You're also not in the game if you haven't realized, and Amy, I believe you said this when we started, that people expect social connections. We are definitely becoming more and more socially connected, and people expect that in home care as well. And there are several social connections that are very important in SEO. It is not your website and how you are positioning yourself and the information that you are putting out there on your website should be intricately connected also to social media and to online reviews. And those social connections are incredibly important. Amy, do you want to talk about these?
Well, I think that online reviews are extremely important because consumers are savvy enough today to know that the testimonials that you put on your website, may or may not be from a real person, and there's no way for them to check that out. When you get an online review that's entered as a Google review or a Facebook review, they know that those are real and they're by a third party. And that's why 4 out of 10 consumers use social media to find reviews before making decisions about who to work with. And 1 in 3 social media users post about their healthcare experiences.
And I would like to add that we don't have this up here, but a Pew Internet Research study revealed that health-related studies had more reach on social media and other online platforms than other types of scientific studies. That's number 1. Number 2 is age-related studies were in the top 3 most discussed scientific journals on social media, and that's from 2016. But so social connections and social media are becoming more and more important. And so what does this really mean to the strategy? Marissa, you want to talk about this?
I'm trying to think about how exactly to talk about it. I think the best way to describe how social media is going to affect your SEO is that, well, in 2 ways. First off, I see people who are on the website. We do what are called heat maps, where we can see how users are viewing a website, where they're clicking, from what page, and how many people are clicking on those areas of the page. And I see more often that it used to be they'd go from the home page to the About Us to the services and maybe then the contact page. But now I'm seeing more people jump up to social media in that journey because they want to figure out the flavor of your agency and hopefully see some posts of you with your caregivers, and they're going to check out the reviews there, and then they'll come back to the website. The second way that it's super useful is that you can share your newsletter, for example, on your social media, and then other people can share it with a wider audience. So you can reach a whole bunch of people that you couldn't have otherwise reached through maybe a pay-per-click ad, because these people are sharing it for you.
Yes.
Facebook ads do work, but right now I'm just talking about those social shares, just driving a wider audience who may not have heard of your agency before over to your website.
So when we talk about creating helpful, relevant blogs about health information topics and then localizing it for your agency, social media is a way to extend the reach of that blog. Now when you post that blog in social media and people find it helpful, they may like it, they may share it, they may tell others to read it. The other thing to know about social media is that social media should be a more personal reflection. It should mirror your real life relationships with other businesses in the community. So you want to be liking other businesses in the community and commenting on their posts so that they know who you are and you're building a relationship with them so that they will see the information that you're pushing out there that's actually helpful and that they might find helpful to share with someone they know personally, someone they know professionally, etc.
This is really just a slide reinforcing some of the things that we have said earlier and how this all works with social media, because you can take the information that's out there, and if you are paying attention to what your audience is looking for, that'll give you clues on what topics they're interested in, and it'll also, you can take any information that you have created and you can actually put it in a lot of different formats and share it across platforms. And I think one of you earlier said, I believe it was you, Amy, talked about Google is looking for relevant information. They're looking for authority, that you actually know what you're talking about, and all of this really does help in your search engine optimization strategy. So again, it's a lot to understand and a lot to know, but it's very clear, given the statistics, that not only putting that information on your website but sharing it socially is going to help with your SEO. Now we're going to switch a little bit here because we're still talking online, but we're talking about reviews. And reviews are becoming more and more important. I just got a question when I was speaking at the California Association last week about, was it more important to have a review on a health-related website or a home care-related website or something generic like Google or Yelp? And I think it's pretty clear that you should have those on the websites. You should have them on both, but you also should have them on those websites that are talking about aging issues and home care as well. Marissa, we have a RISE program that actually helps people with their reviews. Do you want to talk about this slide?
Oh, absolutely. The RISE program makes it as easy as possible for people to put their reviews online for you. And a lot of people, for example, will say, oh, I'll email you a review, but you've got to get that to the next stage where it's posted on one of those online review sites. So this service not only reaches out to them on multiple times if they aren't able to answer the first time, and then if they give you a wonderful review, then the next step is that it says, here's the links. All you have to do is click copy and then paste, and you just click the link and paste it on there. So it makes it very, very easy. The only thing I will say is they do have to have an account at one of these, but the system also shows them how to set up an account at Google if they want to, and gives them multiple options. So if they have a Facebook account, they can paste it onto Facebook. If they have an account on Yelp, they can paste it onto Yelp. So there you go. Lots of options, as easy as possible to get those reviews online.
And here's the...
Marissa.
Oops, sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, Marissa, what would... the objections that we get to online reviews. Well, first of all, the way to get online reviews is to ask for them. And usually we don't hear from customers. We don't hear from them when they're happy. Things are, popping along and doing great, and we don't hear from them. We hear from them when there's trouble. And so that makes people reluctant to ask for reviews. Can you talk about with RISE how that is managed?
If somebody has a negative review, then you get a chance to settle that issue with them privately before they post it on Facebook or Google or anywhere else. So that way you can get more of those positive reviews online while handling the negative reviews offline.
Now here's the statistic I was looking for last week, and I did answer it correctly because you only have 48% of the polled people say they trust the senior care websites more than general review sites. So to me, that's less than half, 2% less than half. So I would say you need to do both of them. That you need to use the senior care websites, and you need to use other, review services as well. But I think the big statistic here is, and this is something that is also supported with Caring.com statistics, that people really like reviews, and the agencies that have more reviews, 10 or more, are going to have a better chance of people reacting positively to them than if you do not have reviews or you just have 1 or 2 reviews. And what is your agency's greatest asset? And that's your happy clients. And Amy, you said, well, you have to ask. So, and not only ask, but you have to make it easy for them. So we do have a little video on our Core Cubed YouTube channel that helps people show how to set up a Google account and how to do a review. So if someone's really happy with you, you can ask them to write a review and then help them facilitate so that they can actually be able to write that review and to leave it for you. Anything else before we leave reviews that either of you would like to talk about?
Nope, I think we've covered it.
Good. We've got other key search items here in terms of getting found online. Now, we've talked about writing content, but there's other things that help with SEO. As a matter of fact, there's like 220 of them, and we're not listing all of them here, but and some of them have more weight than others, and that changes all the time. Google is fond of changing its algorithms, which they love to do, and when they change an algorithm, then sometimes different things have different weights. So let's talk about these.
This goes back to the idea that you know, the prime objective of Google and other search engines is to show consumers the highest quality sites. And so one of the factors that they give a lot of weight to is having links from other qualified, relevant, trusted businesses back to your website. And again, think about this in terms of your online relationships with people should reflect your real life relationships with people. So if there's an elder care attorney in your local market who you get referrals from, perhaps there's an opportunity for you to have a link on that elder care attorney's site that links back to your site, for you to trade guest blogs with each other, thereby, you know, providing links for both of you. That kind of showing to the search engines that local people in your area trust your business enough to link back to you is one of the weighty measures that they look at, in addition to having relevant content on your site and adding relevant content frequently. I'll let Marissa take the next point on keywords.
Yeah, I just think listening to the beginning of this webinar, you're probably thinking, great, I got my strategy. I'm going to write at strategic times and on topics that they're interested in, and they're going to find it. And then you go, but it's not working. I'm not getting a lot more inquiries, and it could be because you're missing some of these points here with SEO. And it is, like Merrily said, there's a lot of different things that go into it, but these are some of the biggies. The keyword strategy those are the words that people who are looking for home care are looking for the most. Those are the terms that they're using when they type in the questions. And if you don't have those words on your web text, in your blogs, then you aren't going to show up on searches for those words.
And those words change over time is the other thing.
Mm-hmm. And if they get to your website, let's say you're doing pay-per-click advertising and you're driving tons of people to your website, but people can't find what they're looking for. There's those micro moments. Then what are they going to do? Go back to that slide. They're going to leave and they're not going to come back. So make sure that the user experience on your website lets them find what they need to find quickly. It's a font that they can read and not have to put their reading glasses on to see. And make sure that when they get to your website, they don't get a big warning sign that says this website's full of malware. You definitely have to keep up with your website maintenance, or Google will flag your site, and then it's a really difficult process sometimes to get them to take that flag off. So you have to stay with your website maintenance.
I want to just tell a quick story about malware-free websites, because we have some issue right now with someone who it's not a client of ours, it's an industry partner, but their website has malware on it, and we have a program that we use here at CoreCube called Malwarebytes, and what it does is it really alerts you, will not let you go to a website if it's got malware on it. And we told these people that they had malware on their site because we couldn't get to it, and that was last week sometime. And today I had a question about that particular particular business, and so I went to that site again, and I still couldn't go to it. So I communicated with them again, I asked them for the information directly to send to me, and said, I still can't get to your site because it's being blocked because of the malware. And I don't think they understand how serious that is, because Google will take them down. And once it's down, don't you have to go jump through lots of hoops to get your website back up?
Yes, you do. And think of all of the traffic and all of the people that they're missing because of that. It's a shame.
Or all the people that are infected who have gone to their website.
Right.
They'll never forgive them. Sorry, anyway, I had to tell them.
And in a lot of cases, the longer the malware is up, the more damage it does, depending on what the malware has been programmed to do on the site. The damage can get worse over time.
Facebook advertising made this list because we've been doing some studies recently comparing Google pay-per-click results to Facebook advertising results. And for the home care market, it has been fascinating to me to see that Facebook advertising far outperforms Google pay-per-click in terms of the cost per click and how many people are then taking actions on the website after they get to it through the Facebook instead of the Google pay-per-click. That's probably a whole different webinar to really dive into that. But
Yes,
I wanted to mention it.
And capturing leads. I mean, this is something that what you're really trying to do is grow your business. So the website, once someone gets there and finds the information that you have helpful and is interested in your service, if it's an immediate need, they're going to pick up the phone and call you. But if they're in those two other categories where they're looking for the future, or they're just thinking about some type of care that they may need soon, then you're going to have to capture those leads. So who would like to take this one?
Well, there are a lot of new fandangled ways to capture leads, some of which I think are working better than others. Pop-ups on websites, as long as they're not super obtrusive, can work well, especially if it's a little, you have a question, type your question in here and we'll get back to you right away. That sort of chat box kind of option, or just an easy way for them to leave their contact information for you to email them or call them later. And also, if you have great information on your site, asking them to give you their contact information before they can get that, so that you can send them more helpful information in the future, is a great way to keep those longer term leads on the hook, so that when they do finally have that need, or when they know somebody else who has that care need, your name pops up to the top of their mind because you are keeping in touch with them.
It really is important to remember that the number of people who come to your website is really not the important number. I know a lot of people get excited about it, but we have seen in the past, numbers sometimes can fool you, because if you're having a spam bot, or people from Uzbekistan coming to your site, or hackers, or you can have lots and lots of numbers on your website that don't mean anything. What really is important is the people who come to your website, it's the quality of those people. Are they searching for care? Where are they in that buyer journey? And then once they get there, it's how they interact with your site. One of the slides before, we talked about the consumer experience, the buyer's journey, and the user experience on your site. I mean, it's got to be easy to find the information that they want, and they have to have a way that guides them through the site, that helps them to find what they're looking for and makes them feel comfortable with you as your agency, as someone that they're going to call for help. So we have now completed the main part of our webcast here, and let's see if we have any questions that anyone has asked so far. Well, we certainly must have done a fabulous job, because we do not have any questions right now. If you have a question, please enter it in on the right-hand side of your screen where it says questions, and we would be glad to answer it. Again, if you have a question later, we would certainly be glad to answer it privately. And
well, while we're waiting for questions, I printed the questions that we got. We asked, what burning issues do you hope to find the answers from this webinar? And one person, their question was, how can I get to the first page of search results?
That is a pretty deep question. Because, as we mentioned, there are lots and lots of different things to do to get up on that first page of search results. I think the one slide that had the list, that had the Facebook and the link building and keywords, etc., that is a good start. And adding fresh content to your website on a regular basis is going to be a really good start. A lot of people, when it comes to SEO, they just don't know where to start. And something is better than nothing. But working with a professional SEO company is even better.
I was going to say, I think getting to the first page is a very difficult thing to do. It's not unattainable, but it isn't something that's going to happen quickly. And if anyone tells you they can make it happen quickly for you, they're not telling you the truth. So it does take time, and it takes strategy, and it takes a lot of tweaking. And as I said earlier, it is becoming more and more complicated to actually do SEO correctly, just because of the complication in the technology in the industry. So there's lots of tips and tricks that are considered white hat by Google. You do not want to do things that are going to upset Google, because you want to keep Google on your positive side. So my suggestion would be that you hire someone that really knows what they're doing in terms of home care SEO, and use them, and give it at least 6 months.
Okay. There was another question that I thought was interesting. Oh, it looks like we might have a question. We can read that one first.
Parameters for establishing a budget for advertising on Facebook. Advertising on Facebook is really inexpensive.
It is really inexpensive, and what's nice is that you can start with a small budget, and if you see that it brought good results, then just repost the ad for a higher amount.
But we're talking tens of dollars. We're not talking about hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, we have a lot of clients that start with just a $25 ad. I would recommend $50, but you can even do it with just $25 and see, hey, this one's working. Let's throw another $100 at it. Or, I mean, just think about how much money you throw at Google pay-per-click. If you threw out that much money at Facebook, the results would be amazing.
You'd be swamped. It's assuming your Facebook ad is done correctly and is interesting and done by someone who understands marketing into this home care industry. So,
yeah, you can't just put anything up there, and then you won't get people who are looking at it.
Another question that we had prior to the webinar was, what should our website contain to be exciting? And I'll take that one. I don't know that exciting is the correct word to use. And I say that because what you have to remember is that the visitors coming to your website are in a state of emotional stress in many cases. So exciting might be overwhelming to them. What you want your website to be is reassuring, not overwhelming, providing a clear path to the information that they want to get to, and matching up with their values about how senior care could be provided. So sometimes we see websites, home care websites, where people have used every bell and whistle available. They have put every tidbit of information about their agency on the homepage, and it's, from a visual standpoint, very exciting, but also very overwhelming to somebody who really needs clear direction at this point in their journey.
And conversely, I've seen websites that are beautifully designed, but the substance of the information on there, as far as, hey, I'm somebody who's looking for a specific sort of care, or, I don't really know what it is that my mom needs, but I know she needs help. And you scroll through this long homepage, and you can't find anything that matches with what you need. It's all just very generic, or there's fancy graphics and icons everywhere, but they don't lead anywhere, and that is very frustrating as well. So taking that buyer's journey into account when you develop your website is important.
Well, I want to thank you, Marissa, and thank you, Amy. You all always amaze me and continue to amaze me with your knowledge and your depth of experience in this. And I know you work with it on a daily basis, so you're probably learning lots of things you don't even know you're learning because you work with it all the time. So really thank you for sharing that. I've got here contact information for us. We can contact us lots of different ways. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help you if you are interested in our help. And we will post this webinar soon, and you may share it with others. And I want to thank you very much for attending today. And Amy and Marissa, thank you so much for presenting. Everyone have a fabulous day and enjoy the rest of your week.